This podcast discusses a range of topics and is intended for mature audiences. Adult language may be heard throughout the episode. This podcast is for private, non-commercial use. The views and opinions of the cast, the guests, do not necessarily reflect any agency, organization, or company that they work for.
Welcome to the Link Up Podcast, episode 122. Another live episode as we try to do this thing the final time for the new year, 2025. The final voter registration push. To my left, to my right. We got a different suspect in the building today. I'm gonna get to her in a minute. No salsa poppy today. That's a bit weird.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah, I think he's I told him I was gonna come on here and start a rumor that he left the podcast and he's starting his own podcast. So I don't think that would be fair for me to do that. But he is sick, so thoughts and prayers go out to Salsa Poppy. He has one of those things going around, I guess, one of those bugs. Rashad, what's up? How are you?
Good, man. Tired, but I good, man.
Bro, every time we do a podcast, you're tired.
Yeah, I just
be
got
on
on
the
a plane.
scene?
See?
Nah, no.
I got you.
Yeah, no, I just came. I came straight from the airport, man.
Tell us what you were doing.
I just went to pick up some merchandise, to bring back. The hoodies, the cups, t-shirts. Yeah, I had to have a few words with a customs officer.
Okay.
On the way back, yeah. Because I came back with like 4 big boxes. So on the plane, I was fretting. I was like, shit, I'm going to have to pay a ton.
Wait, I was going to say, white fret. Just pay the top. Pay the bill.
Yeah, okay. Right, so...
We record, and that's why I got to say that.
No, I know. So I walked up to the little x-ray machine. I didn't try bypass it because 4 big boxes, you can't do that.
Can't hide
So went through the x-ray machine and I got to this younger gentleman that was at the customs. So he looked like a carnival goer. So I said to him, I said, hey, you doing bad, but no? And he was like, yeah. I said, well, you better let me pass or else you don't come on the road. And I made it here today. No, dude, probably shouldn't have said that. But yeah, we made it through. We made it through very nicely, so yeah.
So you accomplished the goal then. We got
accomplished the goal, man.
So hoodies are available for sale.
Hoodies available, t-shirts and cups. As you can see, Keisha's cup.
Oh.
Yeah, but we have all of those available.
Okay. Thank you for your service. We appreciate that. I don't
problem.
want you in trouble with customs though, so please.
No, I was fully willing to do it, but yeah.
I think everybody has a running with customs. You had that.
Oh no, I also had 2 boxes of books, and books are duty free, so I didn't have to pay anything.
So 2 out of the 4 boxes were books.
Were books, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that sounds
yeah.
better. All right. Mm-hmm. I know Amani used to have a cell phone business, and he was bringing in cell phones and not declaring them. So we just don't want to
personal use, man.
We don't want to set that trend.
Yeah, you need more than one phone.
Is that right?
You need more than one phone.
How many phones you need?
At least at minimum 2.
What are you doing with 2 phones?
I was just.
Well, I have.
You open the door. So
I have 2 businesses, so I need a phone for each business and then a personal phone. Yeah.
What's her name?
Huh?
To my right, shout out to Keisha again, looking like money with the ginger hair. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Again, how much are we paying you? You have your little portable fine going.
Yes, I need comfort.
Yeah, you were talking real spicy in the last episode because it's your first time being a registered voter, and you were just talking your shit. You was like, everybody needs to go register.
Oh, I registered somebody today.
Okay. What district?
West Bay North.
Okay, we have somebody from West Bay North in here tonight too, so that's good. Real quick, Onasia, how are you?
I'm tired, and I am also always tired. So let's cross that.
What are you tired from?
Life?
It's 2025. You shouldn't be.
No, 2025 feels like 2024. So I think I need like an actual week off, and then I'll start from there. But work is work, parenting is parenting. So yeah, like I'm tired. I feel like I worked 4 days today, and it's Monday, and I have 4 to go. So. Story of my life.
I don't even have nothing to sugarcoat that for you. Yeah, it's 4 more days.
I'm always tired.
Yeah.
But I'm working on taking my vitamins, and maybe in like a couple of months that will have helped something or not. I don't know. Yeah. I'm winging it.
I know you're a coffee girl, so thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you.
Let's not broach that topic.
No, let's go ahead.
You told me to be here on time, and I'm not a timely person. So I got here at 5:45, which means I skipped getting my night coffee.
Yeah.
And then I got here and you told me, oh, we're starting at 6:30. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I could have had my second coffee. So here I am
But I know,
with one coffee.
But I know how you are. You're the type of person that you have to tell them a wrong time so they can make sure you're on time.
I know, but like tell me a less wrong time.
Yeah. Next time, I got you.
No, next time I'm getting the coffee.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I want to thank you too, though, because I saw you yesterday by chance at the coffee shop.
Yes, see, that's how important my coffee is.
And
I
was behind you, and you bought my coffee.
Yeah.
That was
Bonding
nice.
through coffee. I don't do that for everybody, so don't advertise it in that way.
Oh no,
I bought you a coffee. All
So
right.
which coffee shop?
I'm not buying you a coffee, Rashad.
No, I just asking.
Okay.
I just want to know which
Oh,
coffee shop.
Capital Soul Savannah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? What's up? You boycotting Savannah?
Support local.
Support
Yeah.
local. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, okay.
Nah, but it
love
inspired me. So today, when I was in the store, I purchased someone's stuff. That
Oh,
was
look at me.
behind me.
Inspiring kindness.
Yeah, that was all you.
Did
Okay,
you-
thank you.
What her name was?
He was a security guard. He was a security guard, man. He had his some planting and all that kind of produce.
So the
and all that
security
stuff.
was in the line and not securing the premises.
He was off. He's allowed to be, off. Yeah.
But how you know he was off? If he were in the outfit, I mean he wasn't off.
You about to get somebody in trouble, Vic.
Yeah, I paid it forward. That was my good deed for the day or for the week, I should say. I don't know how much more I have left in me. 2025, new year. This is the final in the series of three podcasts that we've done. Live events. I want to shout out Luigi, Cayman Cabana. Wonderful food. You're gonna wait a minute, but it's wonderful food. Love Cayman Cabana. I was here a couple of days ago. Let's get into it. What's been going on? What's new? Rashad, anything new besides travel? You being tired? You got the merch. Hoodies are on sale. $40 a piece for the hoodies. Cups are on sale. Shirts are on sale.
That's it, man. Back to business as usual.
So have you decided whether or not you're running? You declared?
No, I not decide.
You're still undecided? March. What's the date again?
March 9th.
March 9th.
Yeah. The day after night carnival.
Okay, I got you. Onassia, you're a registered voter?
Of course, since I was 18, I have a lot of opinions, and people say that you can't have these opinions if you're not registered to vote.
Okay.
And also, if you piss me off, like I would like to exercise my right to vote. So yeah.
When you turned 18, you went right away and got registered?
Yeah.
What was the thought process behind that? Parents pushed you, or you're very vocal and you were just waiting to do it yourself?
I just like to exercise all the rights that I have, and that was one of the new rights I had at 18. So I registered. I was still living on island. There was an upcoming election, and I wanted to be able to vote, so I registered. It was pretty easy. I mean, opening a bank account takes a lot more. So I did it, and I've been registered ever since.
Okay. See that, Keisha? From 18.
Let's not go back to the past.
From 18.
Forward 2025.
Before we switch up and get our next first guest in here, what's been going on with you? How are you feeling? You're almost there. You getting ready to mark your X?
Oh, I'm on the ground hard. I'm trying to get people to register, working hard on my brother.
What's the hold up with him? Let me go talk to my step. Let me go talk to my stepson.
He
What's
just
going
is
on with him?
not.
What?
He echoes a lot of the other sentiments in that he can't see where any change is, being or is happening. So he doesn't see a reason to, register because he doesn't think his voice matters. So I'm working on him.
Any tips on that, sir?
I mean, I think it's one of those things. It's like you do it and you have the option not to use it. But I don't, as a planner, I don't like a situation where, like, if I want to be able to do something, I don't have the resources to be able to do it. And I think voting is very similar. Whereas, like, if you're registered to vote and you want the right to exercise your vote in an election, or or we need to vote on something else that requires you to be a registered voter, you have the right to be able to do it. But by simply not being registered, you can't exercise that. So that's how I've navigated my decision making. And when people are on the fence about it, I was like, if you don't actually want to do it, you don't have to, but at least you'll have the option to.
Yeah.
So
And that's kind of where the vantage point that I've been kind of using, because I'm saying to him, not only are you voting for the new MPs, but also their referendum questions.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do you care about this? Do you care about that? He's telling me yeah. And I'm like, but you don't have a say because you're not registered. So I'll come back with an update.
Yeah, please do. I'm gonna talk to your mom, and we gonna sort it out. We're gonna sort it out. One of the things I saw that Rashana, they got my mics all messed up. One of the things I realized with Rashana, and they did a good skit or video, I should say. People forgot about the referendum aspect, yeah, because they may care about the cruise port, they may care about marijuana use, they may care about a national lottery, but you can't obviously vote if you're not registered at the time.
You do know that's not a bad word, right?
What's that?
Marijuana, weed. It's not a bad word, one. So you could say it.
You can say it.
I was gonna say a lot of other words, so I just wanted
You can
to
say it, one.
Sure. But yeah, so some of the advocacy I see people are doing is I've been around that as well. So that's a good point to note. During this whole process, I always see there's a lot of focus on young people, the 18-year-olds. But I was quite surprised over the last couple of weeks when I realized a lot of people are in their 30s who are not registered to vote. And that's kind of something that's more, I won't say troublesome, but it's kind of more worrisome to me in a sense. People our age, in their 30s, just, how old is your brother, by the way? I don't want to put him on the spot.
30.
He's 30, 35? Okay. But yeah, that's where we at too. So a lot of the marketing, a lot of the targeting has been towards the younger kids, but we have adults who are just straight up disenfranchised, disbelief for the system. I see them giving out pizza. Shout out to them. I mean, if it works, it works.
Mike.
Is that a thing for you? Like
Pizza?
Yeah.
No, sir.
What?
No, sir.
I used to
No,
donate
sir.
blood in college because they gave me pizza and free Coca-Cola. So I think it works. It gets people in somewhat. I mean, maybe because I was in college and I was broke. But
I don't even think I knew that I was registered to vote until it was election time.
so
I think
how
my
did
mom
you
had
get
just-
registered.
I think no, my mom.
Oh.
My mom like filled out the form and was like, "Come, we go in election office," and I was just like, I couldn't say no, so I was just like, okay, and I got registered
How old
to
you
vote.
at the time?
18.
Okay.
Yeah, she just said, "Hey, let's go. I'm gonna register you to vote," and I was like, okay.
I respect it.
Yeah, so I've been registered before I even knew anything about politics or whatnot. Back then I didn't know much, so they would just tell me, okay, when you go in here, vote for so and so. But now I form my own opinions. I go on my own and do my own voting. But I am glad that she did take me when I was 18 to get me to register to vote, even though I didn't really know much about it. So I think that's also a thing too on parents as well. Like, yeah, take your kids, get them registered to vote. Like, yeah.
I guess,
But I
yeah.
think
they ain't
it
gonna say no.
depends if your parents are
I
registered
was
to
just
vote.
gonna
So
say,
like
yeah.
my grandparents were registered to vote, but my mom isn't registered to vote. So if that was what had driven my particular decision, that wouldn't have helped. But I think one of the other things is that I think the contributing factors to why people our age typically aren't registered to vote is one of the challenges in our community is we're very individual focused. And I think one of the things about voting is because you have that macro view or you have that big picture view and you understand how you as an individual are affected by larger policy decisions or larger decisions. And I think it takes a degree of maturity, a degree of education, a degree of understanding to understand that the reason you are 35 and can't buy a piece of, you can't buy a house because you can buy property, but it's wild to me that land is 200,000. That you can't buy a piece of land now is because of policies and decisions that were made 10 years ago. And so we're living in the decision, but we didn't have that knowledge, that maturity, or that understanding to understand where we fit in the big picture 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so now we are in the back end playing catch up. And so we're still playing catch up because we probably still don't have enough of us registered to vote to steer some of the decisions that are going to continue to affect us in the future. And I think it takes somebody putting together the pieces of the puzzle for people to make that impact. And so, yes, we can all bring one along, but ultimately to get that effect that we want to have, like there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, that's a valid point because I think that was happening with Jody a couple of years ago too when she voted and she was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna vote again," because the outcome wasn't what she wanted at the time. And I think we have to have a realistic view getting registered and voting this particular election season is probably not going to move the goalposts to your liking or on a grand scale. But it's a small incremental movement and changes that we need to be a part of. And for the record, too, we're not shitting on D's Pizza or anybody giving pizza to vote. Like that's sorry, not to vote, to register to vote, I should say. I think in these particular times, we have to do whatever we can do that's creative, innovative, and provide incentives for people who want to register to vote. So I think that was a plus.
Yeah, no, definitely was a good initiative to try to get voters. I've seen a lot more this time around than I did the last 4 years. Like you said, Leonie's thing was tonight. We've been doing it with the show, D's Pizza. A lot of different things have a lot of different initiatives to try to get people to vote this time around. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Fair enough. Let me shout out Mila in the back too, by the way. I see Mila and Shanti in the back there. I had D's Pizza with them on Friday night, so that was good. Let's get out of here. Let's switch it up real quick. I want to bring on our next guest. She's been very vocal. Young man too. He's been very vocal as well. I want to bring them on so we can talk a little bit more about voter apathy, see what their plans are for the next couple of weeks, and take it from there. So as soon as Jordan sat down, Jordan mentioned the photos, meaning had a conversation about photos. Yes, in this business, your photo's gonna be taken many, many, many times. So you gotta get used to that, man. And you're a handsome looking guy, bro. Why
Yeah,
you
but I
take the
gotta pay a
photos?
lot more for a barber now, bro. I used to go 2 weeks.
Yes,
You know?
yes,
Now look at me, I gotta go every other day just about.
yeah. When you do TV, radio, you gotta do it twice a week, bro. Yeah. So welcome back to the podcast. I have lovely guests here.
Hello.
The studious Miss.
I got on my glasses. I don't normally wear my glasses to record, but I want to see the people in the crowd.
Okay.
You know?
Yo, you are hilarious.
Thank you.
You are hilarious. Because you see the beauty queens and they be kind of like, you know what I mean? They be stiff and
Well,
tight.
I tell you what. Here what? I from Westby.
I
So
was
if
gonna
you know
say-
anybody from Westby, we just kind of like that. Just naturally. So sorry.
The lovely Miss Rashana Hydes. Welcome to the
Hello.
podcast.
New.
Podcast host too. World Talk. I saw you working for Phil.
Yeah. I've been dabbling in podcast hosting, which is new. Definitely different than anything I've ever done before. Different format, but it's really fun and really exciting. And what we're talking about is really important. So I'm happy to be having these conversations, happy to have the platform to be able to do so and to get people engaged and excited to vote. Come on, guys.
West Bay.
She's like this at
I
work.
tell ya.
Yes.
You guys work
We're,
together?
we're co-workers.
Oh, okay.
And she's like this with everything. So Rashana coordinates our social events, our community events, our health and wellness, every committee that you could be on at work.
She's on it.
Rashana's there. So this is like her real personality.
I was gonna say, yeah. And you
Yeah.
need that
This
person.
me 25-8.
Yeah.
So
25-8.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. And then also too, we have a young man who's running. I don't want to say young man. I didn't like when people do that to me. We have a man
You want
running
people to
for.
call you Oliver?
Nah, but I feel like
Okay.
sometimes when you say young man, it puts you in a box and
Oh.
it kind of just.
Facts. Okay.
Say what? That's Gabby. Gabby can't help it.
I can't do it, Gabby.
But no, I think sometimes it reminds you when they used to play local music on Radio Cayman. It'd be a fire song, and then they'd be like, this local track, and it just kind of a little bit. So I want to give him respect. You know, we have a man who say he's running for West Bay North.
Yep.
Correct.
He's officially kind of declared. So he's joining us as well. He was interviewed by Rashana a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
So
That was a
when-
great interview. She's a great interviewer.
Thank you. It was my
Very
first
good.
time hosting, so I'm happy that it went well. I didn't slip up and didn't do nothing bad, so happy for that.
we call you back again.
Yeah, man. I'm down. Whenever you're ready, just give me a mic.
Yeah, man. Mr. Jordan Rivers. Good afternoon. Good evening. How are you?
Not too bad. And how are you guys?
So you said you're gonna fix up with the barber now? You're gonna just
Yeah, I gotta get him on a regular schedule now, man. Like
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd have to do that in my life, but you want to achieve for higher office, you gotta start paying more for the thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You gotta look the part.
You gotta
Go to the
go to your barber and work out some type of deal, some type of contract, and you shout them out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as Rashana saw me last time when she interviewed me, I had a full head of hair.
Yeah.
Now I got a nice clean cut, so obviously I'm working towards the part.
But the girls told me like that though. They messaged me and they was like, "Yo, who's that guy on the podcast?"
What, the cut or the long hair?
all of that. I guess
Okay,
you
well,
look right. You ride horses too, right? So
Yeah,
I guess
of
they had the whole
the Fabio style.
It was giving very like country living, very like wild and free. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was good for
Natural.
them, but we're down to business now.
Down to business
We're
now.
down to business
Excuse
now.
me. Excuse me.
Since we're here, let me shout out my barber real quick. Studio 54. So those are good people. Catherine and Marlito at Studio 54. They take very good care of me since we're here. And I encourage you to do the same thing. You're going to be on the platform soon. How you busy? So yeah, what's up with you, man? I mean, we did a little bit of insight on you in the World Talk episode. How do you think you can come into the game and affect change being a representative for West Bay North? Sorry, going right into it.
I know we are going right into it. That's a direct question. Firstly, I am a lot younger than a lot of the other persons that are running, but that does not mean that I don't have the capabilities to lead a country or be a part of a team that leads the country. That's what a team is for, is to collectively get the right things done, right? What I feel that I can bring is that and this has been a strong motivating factor for me for why I decided to get into politics. Well, no, sorry, I was always in politics from the time I was about 11, but for me to run this time around is that I realized that my generation does not have a voice inside of there. And you would assume that when a country is being thought of, they're thinking of all generations and everything to go on. But as we all have seen over years now, it's a very hectic thing to do. It's a very big undertaking for a lot of persons. And unfortunately, people they sometimes end up by the wayside.
They get lost in the sauce.
So I unfortunately am seeing that we're on a track that I'm not very comfortable with. I have been very fortunate that I've worked with my family in tourism for a number of years. So it's talking with persons and looking at different viewpoints and seeing many different aspects of life around the world has become commonplace for me. I always loved to ask questions and learn about new things. And in those endeavors, and one of the things that has really piqued my interest a lot is that I've been speaking with persons that have been coming here since the 80s and 70s. God rest some of their souls. And a lot of times they're saying now is that this may actually be the last time they're coming here because they don't like the change or the course they were on for the most part. And I'm just here to try and bring a new innovative perspective for life on how we can move in a much more positive direction. And hopefully along the way, keep my age bracket and future generations in loop of everything that's taking place in the country.
I guess so. You're basically looking at having a voice at the table, so to speak.
Yes, it's necessary. We're kind of past that point now. We need to move forward with a new generation of politicians, a new way that politics is done in the country. The previous leaders that have come and gone have done a lot of hard work over the years to ensure not everything has been correct or right or appetizing, but a lot of them have done the best they can do for the situation or the cards they were dealt, and we have to appreciate that and be understanding of that. Not everything's a perfect thing, but it's time for us to now move into the 21st century, move into 2025 on a strong foot, and actually bring the next generation forward, because we're getting left behind, unfortunately, and I'm here to represent that next generation.
Fair enough.
So I have a question. So you mentioned that, as part of you running, you understand that you're going to be a part of a team. And so based on the candidates that have come forward to say that they're going to run, I will say that much of the candidates still are not representative of our age group. So let's say it's election day, you're successful in your endeavors and you get elected. And let's say you are one of the few younger or youngest people that are part of a team. Do you perceive that to be a challenge? And, how, I guess, will you approach that? Because I think it's one thing to have a seat at the table, but the other thing is that if the majority are still representative of what has already been leading, how will you approach that situation?
So if I understand correctly, I don't necessarily see it as a challenge, but more of an opportunity.
Okay.
Because obviously, if I've been able to get to have that seat at the table, therefore people have had enough confidence in me to elect me to represent their thoughts and their ideals and their way forward. And it is, the opportunity would be to show those persons that are a little bit more weathered by the system than I am, that, hey, look, this is how we have to move forward in order for the country to be successful, because the next set coming up, they're the ones that are going to inherit the debt. Hopefully now, I say this very hopefully, we won't have as much obstacles in our way when it comes to actually doing what's right for the country. We can look past special interests for the most part and say, hey, it's time now. The next generation is here, and we're here to take a hold of our country and actually have a place for us. And this is not saying that things are going to have a dramatic change or a dramatic turn, but as we all get older here, and we're all fairly young persons here, we've got a lot of life ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
It is our time now to take responsibility for our life
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, I want this piece of pie. This Cayman is our home. So I really don't look at it as a challenge. The minute you call something a challenge, you've already put a wall in front of you. It's an opportunity because that's a new door for me to walk through, new persons for me to network with and hopefully collaborate with in order to make a better Cayman for everyone else.
So you ready to go in caucus and fight? You ready?
Yeah, I have to. It is not just myself I'm representing. I'm representing every person in my age bracket and my constituency and the wider Cayman Islands. So I have to ensure that I'm one guided by good counsel and I'm making the best possible decision.
I see a little bit of your pops coming out of you now. Man.
That's
I
right.
see it.
See that all day.
Yeah.
Hi.
Studious Rashana, what's up?
What's up? How you doing?
So you're not running.
No, I am not running. So why am I sitting up here? You may ask. Well, I am here to inform the public. A, you have a voice when you register to vote and you vote. B, it is important to be involved in the political process. Why? Why should I be involved?
Amen.
She answered her own questions.
Well, okay, let's think about it for a second. You don't like the way things going. You don't like the cost of living. You don't like the overdevelopment. You don't like the lack of housing. What are you going to do about it? You going to sit down and complain in your living room or comment on social media, comment on my road when the next, thing come out, the next story come out about whatever's being developed and this one doing that one, and you just going to comment on social media, or are you going to do something? So I'm here to encourage people to actually do something. That's really what it is for me. And being the change, as like cliche as it is, like, okay, yeah, Gandhi, whatever. But you have to start somewhere, even if you're unsure, even if you don't know if you're doing the right thing or you're saying the right thing, you have to start somewhere.
It's a start.
Yeah.
And we've seen that over the years kind of just grow and grow, where people are performative activists. You know, it's all about the outrage. You know, you send a couple messages in the group chat, put up a comment or a status, and then after that,
Crickets.
It's crickets.
Crickets.
And I get it. People are restricted in some of the things that they can do and things that they can say.
Yeah.
We're not going to be out there protesting. We're not going to be out there at the CPA board or whatever. Although you do have a right to go to the CPA board and object to things. But yeah, we're not going to be marching down the street, so to speak. But there are ways that you can get involved and help. And that's one of the things I wanted to commend you on, because the minute someone in Cayman is in the community doing community service, walking dogs, or, you know, doing a good deed, someone gets in their ear and say, yo, you should run.
Yeah.
You should run. You should run. And I think the work that you have been doing over the last couple of months should definitely be commended, because you don't have to run to be a part of this particular process.
Absolutely. You don't have to be a politician to be able to enact change in your community. There are things that you can do on the ground every day that will make a small difference. And like the saying goes, many hands make light work. It really is that simple. I think we make it harder in our minds, like, oh, I need to be doing way more. But realistically, you only have so many hours in the day. So what can you do? I just came from the Seafarers event where they were doing the voters registration.
Yeah.
Left work, went there, came here. So you can make time for the things that are important.
Where does this passion come from within you?
I mean,
besides being a West Bayer.
True.
That's the blood. That's the blood.
Yeah.
I guess the seed was planted seeing my uncle being in politics, right? So me being a lot younger and just kind of seeing things from a child's perspective in that way, and seeing how much he cared about things like education and the education system that we had, that kind of planted the seed for me. Kind of buried my head in the sand a little bit. I was like, 18, 19, that's not my problem. I made the adults deal with that stuff. I don't need to do nothing. I just need to focus on my grades. Came back from university, and then everything was hitting the fan. I was like,
real life started.
Oh, yeah. So real life slapped me down. So I was like, okay, all right. Well,
I kind of have to get involved. COVID happened, fast forward to now, I'm like, all right, I really feel passionately about the country, the way the country is going. I want to be able to look my future children and grandchildren in the face and say, I did everything I possibly could to make your future better. I need to say that with my whole chest because I don't want to be on my deathbed with no regrets. And if I don't speak out right now, I feel like I would regret it later on.
I'm soaking
That's
it
how
up.
West Bay conviction, you know.
Yeah, I'm soaking it up.
So you mentioned CPA board, and so I wanted to kind of take this opportunity to move from that singular focus and start painting big picture, because I think when we're thinking about elections, we're thinking about elected officials and those individuals that we vote into power. But I think a lot of times people forget that government officials and those elected officials then make decisions about who sits on boards that make key decisions.
Yes.
And so I have a compliance background, so I've had the very fun job of having to care about who sits on all of these government boards and do we maintain relationships with them. And in going through that process, I learned there are hundreds of government appointed boards. And so initially you think your impact is limited to the elected official and not understanding that then those individuals make decisions and who then sit on the boards that make decisions about, for example, as you said, the CPA board that make decisions about development, that help to influence and make decisions about financial regulation, things of that sort. And so I think part of, Rashana is making sure that people get registered to vote. But I think a few of us need to take on the role of putting the pieces together for people and saying it's not just about the elected individuals, it's about then what power those elected individuals have and what decisions they make on your behalf for the next 4 years, and having that understanding. So I think that's one of the things that, as people are getting registered to vote, they understand it's bigger than that individual you're gonna check the box for.
Yeah. It's a lot about education, which is what we kind of touched on in our last podcast as well.
I just can't get used to the willful ignorance that people have when they say, I don't do politics or I don't care about politics because it doesn't affect me. And it's like such a small-minded view to have. You're going to be affected by this.
I have a conspiracy theory about that if you want to hear it.
Sure.
Okay, so
we're on YouTube now, so we fit right in with
that's right. Conspiracy theory time. So think about it from the position of those in power. If I want to keep power, if I'm elected and I want to keep power, the best way to do that is to make sure that the people who could get me out of power feel like they don't have the power to do so.
I see you.
So the best thing you can do if you're a power hungry individual and you want to keep that power, make the people feel like they don't have no power. Simple as that, because that way you're not held accountable, you're not voted out, and you just live in happy-go-lucky. Everything is bliss. So when you think about it from the voter's perspective, it's easy to feel disenfranchised because you're like, okay, well, my vote don't matter and nothing not gonna change and everything gonna stay the same. That's what they want you to think. Okay, let's go down to conspiracy theory a little bit. Just think about it.
I'm following you. We're going to chop that up for IG, actually. Jordan, before we get you out of here, man, I wish you all the best.
Appreciate you.
I know you have a bit of a road in front of you, but I can feel your conviction. We've spoken offline as well, too. The episode with Rashana was really good on World Talk. If you haven't seen it yet, please do so. It's on all of our platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, whatever it is there. Anything you want to leave us with before you get out of here? Before you go and prepare yourself, your speeches, and your what are you looking forward to on the campaign trail? I should say.
What am I looking forward to?
Yeah, what are you looking forward to? Because you've been a part of it before with your father, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it is a very different position to be representing yourself now instead of representing someone else. It's actually a little bit easier when you're doing it that. There's less onus on you. One thing that Rashana and I talked about is that whereas over the years I could have danced around it and just said my piece and backed away when I needed to, I'm more so getting married to it now. I'm chained to it. And that weighs very heavy on me because it's, you ask anyone that knows me, I'm a very jovial person. I prefer to have good times over bad times, but it's coming to terms with myself and understand that this is a very serious undertaking. I knew what it was before,
Yeah.
but the realization of that is where I've come now, and it's really helped me mature in a path that I want to go in as a contributing member of society. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how I come out on the other end of this. Whether I make it or not, it's a learning experience. The whole
For
thing
sure.
is that, and that's something that people should not be afraid of. We become a little bit too timid sometimes, where we don't want to leap, we don't want to jump. A whole lot of my life has been jumping and doing things I'm not comfortable with. So this is something that I'm very much looking forward to, as a thing that, a positive is that I get elected, but there aren't really any negatives, because I grow
Fair.
as an individual.
Fair.
I never have, no other aspect matters. I'm growing as a person as I do this, and hopefully, whether it's my time or not, I can become the leader I want to be and the leader I want to see in the country, and represent the people properly. What I will leave everyone with is that, and this is for everyone sitting here, both young, old, in between, whatnot. I see a few persons that are under the age of 18. So they don't have to worry as much right now, but at some point in time, they will have to worry. The onus for everyone sitting here is that we are generation now, trying to prepare the way for generation next. And if you see anything that I'm doing on my social medias, you'll see that that's a very important hashtag that goes in everything. And it's not just because it's something, a little grab me line. It actually means a lot to me.
Yeah.
We are the ones now that are preparing times for the ones that are coming.
Well said. With that being said, though, are you prepared to give out your socials? How can they contact you? That's one of the things you have to have prepared as well.
So Jordan Rivers WBN is the Instagram, and then Jordan Rivers for West Bay North is the Facebook profile.
No. Any phone numbers or not?
Oh, my bad. Apologies.
Yeah.
Yes, they can reach me currently at 938-8668. That's my direct line. So if they have any questions, want to know more what I'm doing, want to participate, want to contribute, want to just give their time, it doesn't have to be monetarily. I very much want to have persons on this journey with me, because it benefits everybody. Not everyone gets involved when a person's running, and they have to have convictions for those persons. Every person that I've ever supported and done any kind of labor for, I've had convictions for them. So if you feel like I'm a person that you want to see represent you in the future, by all means, get in contact with me, and we'll make things happen. We'll just go on this journey together and see where we come out on the other side.
Okay. We're gonna try to get you back on another time, another area. I want to talk more, I guess, about some of your platform, I guess I would say. And I know you're big in tourism, so I know that may be one of them. So we'll have Dee and those people get in touch with you, and we can figure it out. Rashana, I know you probably have another event to get to, or something, or some TikTok video to make.
Well, after this, I go in Foster's, so pray for me, because I don't really have that much money.
That's an event of
but
itself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Cry a little bit every time I go to the store. But no, I don't have anything else after this, thankfully. But I guess, are we doing what I'm leaving with? My last sentences?
Sure.
Yeah. Or did you have any more questions for me?
I'll bring you back on if anything. Sure. But go
All
ahead.
right.
Any final comments before we go ahead?
All right. So final.
I want you to get some rest. I mean, every day you drop a new video.
Bro,
So I know you're working and you have a day job.
my eyes burning. I'm so tired.
Thank
But
you.
especially because we're trying to get people registered before the deadline, which is January 15th. Let's do it, guys. Last thoughts. If you did not see the episode with Jordan and I, the thing that I enjoyed most about it is that he's actually running against my uncle in West Bay North. My uncle is Ralston Anglin. And so
Wait. You said you like that?
I'm about to explain. You cut me. The reason why
I'm trying to think about how the family dinners and lunches are going to be.
The reason why I like it, my uncle encouraged it because he understands the power of young people being involved in politics. He wanted me to have those discussions because he enjoys people being involved, being actually educated about what's going on. And no matter what, right? Even if Jordan were to win, my uncle were to win, whoever, we all want a better Cayman. And that's why I'm sitting here having these conversations. It's not about, I can't sit here and have no conversation with this camp and I can't be associated with this camp. We got to get past that, guys. We really have to get past that, put egos aside because 7 Mile Beach is dying, okay? It's serious up in here. Like, it's beyond my feelings, my personal feelings, and anybody's personal feelings. We have to think bigger. And that's really why I enjoy the podcast in general.
I'm not stepping on that. Thank you, Rashana. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Mic check, mic check, mic check. Welcome back. Let's get this on the road. We couldn't do this without having, obviously, our PPN podcast. That's one of the words on the street that we're a PPN podcast now, so I got to tread lightly with that one. D, we good? Good to go? Oh, sorry. Hold on. My trusty assistant here is bringing me another swanky. Cayman Cabana has the best swanky. This is in a glass, though. This doesn't have alcohol, right? This is... Oh, thank you very much.
Virgin swanky.
Yes, that's the only way to go. That's the only way to go, man. New guests, welcome back to the podcast. Onasia, in real time, I really enjoy this because you said your kid was FaceTiming you while you were recording. I love it.
Every time I'm doing something for me, he FaceTimes me and wants to know where am I.
Man, these kids are so selfish.
I know.
Yeah, terrible.
We gotta raise selfish kids though.
Their world is what's right there in front of them.
Yeah.
So
Good time to be.
I'm on a timer, but I have time. But
well said.
he's using it to negotiate that he should be able to stay up until I get home.
I like that. That was me. I would do that. One of my hustles was when my mother would go to work, I would go back from the bus and then call her at work and be like, oh, I wasn't feeling well. Because I'm thinking she's at work. I'm not getting in trouble if she's at work. And then by the time she go home at 5, I was straight. Sorry, Mr. Hugh. I don't.
No, I was just. I mean, I was the youngest of 7. By the time my mother got to me, she couldn't. She was tired.
Just do what you want to do, Joey.
Do what you want to do.
The voice is familiar. You've been around a few times.
Yeah.
Always repping your set, repping red. The Progressives.
I didn't mean to brand your podcast. But
nah, we already branded, bro. We here. Well,
you know, it's. I'm sorry about that if people are taking offense to that, but this just happened out of conversations we had, you know, and talking about the need to get young people. We spoke about some of the initiatives I wanted to do, and you guys said, hey, listen, we can pick that up.
100%.
And absolutely, and we were happy to support it. So, you know, it's, again, this is not about come and vote for any particular person. This is about getting registered so you can participate. And an excellent observation earlier that if, you know, when the referendum comes around, if you're not registered to vote and you want to participate in that, after Wednesday, it'll be too late. You can't go and cast a vote for any candidate, no matter which candidate. If the best candidate in the world pops up, the perfect candidate, if that exists, if you don't register to vote, you can't vote for that. And then if you start and if you develop a passion or you have a passion for any of the items on the referendum, you can't participate in that either. So we're not here to say register and you know, you have to come and vote for me or to vote for anyone else. We're just saying give yourself the opportunity to register so that when the day comes, you have that choice, because you can't wait until election day to decide, oh, I want to go and vote. You can always say, I'm not going to vote. We don't encourage that either, because no vote is a vote for. And that's what they'll, you know, it's a political saying, no vote is a vote for. But at least you can go out and listen to the candidates. You can read up on their manifestos, etc. And then on that day, you will have a choice to vote for a candidate or even not to vote. But without registering to vote, you don't have that choice.
And let me say this as well too, because Chris isn't here, Salsa Poppy isn't here. He's definitely a team PPM. So you guys are good. You got somebody in the panel for sure. But yes,
we have more than one person out there. But
of course. But to the point though, you know, when the conversation did come up to us to how it has been looking or it's been branded, I simply replied about, listen, we're pushing voter registration. All sides have been invited. All persons have been invited. But then also, you guys are on the ball. I got to give you guys credit when it comes to getting out and working with young people, jumping on new media, i.e. podcasts. That should be commended, and we'll see the other groups and other persons start to follow suit afterwards. You guys are just a little bit ahead of the curve, I would say. So I definitely want to thank you guys for doing that and speaking to Rashad and the team behind the scenes to get that stuff sorted.
Yeah, when I first appeared on the podcast, and anyone on my team can tell you that I decided, and when I decided to do this, to lead the party, I said it's going to have to be different. We have to do something different. And that goes across many things, which will come out in our manifestos and our meetings later. But for me, the most important thing was to involve younger people and to get younger people involved. And we talked about it. In a party system, it's easy to get younger people involved because you can come and be a part of the party. You can get on the executive of the party. And the way, well, if the party is operating correctly, it is the, you know, you should have your executive, your party councils. Recommendations should come from those councils and your executives straight up through into the elected party. And so the unelected officials of a party play just as an important role as the elected officials in the party. So there's many ways you can get involved through a party or through an organized group without actually being a candidate and having a voice in your future, as we talked about. And, you know, I think for me, when I looked at it and I said to the team, it's, if we continue to push away younger people from the party, then we are just determining our failure in the future. Right? You're just planning your failure in the future. If you push away younger people out of an organization, any organization, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's just a matter of time. Right? So that you know, that's the view I take, and that has been our effort. And I can say to you, not to get into the politics of it, but people are going to criticize us when we reveal our team to say, oh, you have so many inexperienced politicians. And it's probably going to be, it'll probably be a 60-40 split with having new candidates and younger candidates compared to experience.
That's not a bad thing.
If we really drill down, it is a bad thing. Because, and people are going to say, how could all these other people retire? And I'm saying, well, how would you like me to get younger people in without some older people leaving?
And how do you expect to get experience if you don't get elected?
And if you don't get elected, it's like employment. It's our young people come back from university and everyone is saying you need 5 years experience. Well, how do I get the experience without being hired first?
Well, I want to get into that because the last time you were here, you brought out a younger face to the campaign or to the party, and you've returned.
But it was for them to get their views out and to give people to see that, you know, persons. And I love now that we have Ms. Hydes and everyone else coming out and showing younger people and talking about wonderful points earlier about not having to actually be a candidate to get involved, to get involved, but be aware and understand what's happening in your country. And there's many ways you can play a role in that, including sitting on boards and committees and other things that. But yes, I thought it was important not just to talk the talk, but to actually bring persons along to show that we are moving in that direction.
Yeah, so you brought me one last time. Now you brought another one today, and I want to introduce her because I haven't forgotten you. I know you're over here to my left.
It's been a minute, probably 30 years now.
But yo, I remember a story about you too. We was in the car.
Let's keep that to ourselves.
You brought us a new face to the party. She has her fever tonight. She's not feeling well, so I want to get her in and get her out because I don't want her to be up here not 100%. I want to welcome Miss Crystal Gomez.
Thank you for having me. It's actually Crystal Gomez Wilson. However, we all know that as a woman in Cayman, once you get married and change your name, it's very common that people don't actually know who you are until you hear who your mama and your papa is. So it's Kathy and Kerna Gomez are my parents. And I have been, I shouldn't say heavily involved in what's happening in the Cayman Islands over the last couple of years. I've been busy having two very young children, only 1 and 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yes. However, they are actually the reason that I decided to get more involved because every day I look at their beautiful faces and I worry. I mean, I remember I was born in the 80s and I call that, the glory years because we were riding our bicycles down to Jose's gas stations. There weren't that many cars on the road. You were selling plums and mangoes on the side of the road. And if you got $25, you were a gazillionaire for that month, Yeah. And I look at them and I'm like, first of all, times have changed. They're never going to have the same future that I did. However, what can I actually do to hold on to some of that? So while I am 40 years old, I grew up in the golden era of the Cayman Islands, but I also appreciate the new way of the world and how, we have to adapt for the country to thrive. We can't hold on to those old values and the way of life forever. It's just inevitable that we will have to adapt. And working, getting involved with the PBM and talking to like-minded people who are already a team, who are already very, in the same mindset, it just naturally made sense for me. And my values are one of the most precious things in my life. So for me to put myself out there and do this, you know that it took a lot of thought, a lot of, do I want to allow the public into my private life? Because I am a very private person. Do I want to, have time taken away from my young children when, I'm putting myself out there for the country? But I digress. The moment that I did realize I wanted to do this was I was standing in a grocery store and I was buying baby formula, Pampers, and I can't remember the other thing, but those two items alone are about $100 this day and age. And I was on baby number 2 and I was like, how am I going to afford to pay mortgages, to send both of them to a school? How am I going to afford this? How am I going to afford that? And I started panicking in the middle of the grocery store. And it was right there and then that I decided that I am going to be the voice for the mothers that have young children that have no idea what our future looks like in the next 20 years.
Fair enough.
So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
And it's just, these are the stories we spoke about, Josh when he was on with me last time. And it's when these younger persons, come and they come with their stories and their visions and their enthusiasm and the energy. That's what's driving me, because that's going to be the driver behind everything we do. And I need that enthusiasm and that energy to push me along as well. And, we wish we could, and we will very soon. And I'll get to the point on this, have our press conference and show the entire team. But unfortunately in Cayman, and in particularly if you were, someone mentioned earlier about, let's get over this, which team you're with or who you're with and that sort of thing. But in particular, unfortunately, because the PPM is the only party in the country, the minute someone goes to their boss and says, I'm thinking about running, we've had this experience with candidates and the boss goes, oh, that's fantastic. I'll give you a leave of absence. I can give you some money. Yeah, I'll be running with the PPM. Oh, no, you're going to have to resign. You'll have to resign. And that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Because I think every single one of us, I sat and I listened to Jordan, who his father and I grew up together in Northwest Point, went to school together, and I listened to him, and bright young man. I'm like, fantastic, that's amazing. And good for him that he has the opportunity to come out and say, I'm going to contest election and have to worry about whether or not he's going to be able to keep his job, and how early will he have to give that up. And then even now, my candidates are being told, well, you can't actually go out and say anything because there's risk. There's risk. You're going to draw risk to the firm and and those sorts of things. So it's difficult. So I want to applaud.
Risk to the firm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want, and some people, you brought up a good thing about compliance and that is even making it more difficult to get people on boards and stuff like that, because no one wants to fill out the amount of documents and the declarations that you have to give, basically exposing your entire life. And then all of a sudden your bank calls you up and goes, oh, you're a PEP, you're a politically exposed person, so we need this much more information from you now. And to the point where it may even be where the bank may say to you, oh, we're not so sure, you may have to move your accounts. And so all of this makes it very difficult. So the more people get involved, the more people that have the ability to put themselves forward to assist in some way, the whole objective here is to build a greater and more beneficial Cayman Islands for our people. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
absorbing.
What he said?
No, because I'm thinking about a clip that went out the other day with Joey talking about getting more women involved.
Yeah.
And we haven't really seen that. Sorry, I shouldn't say haven't seen that, but there's a question as to, what are some of the roadblocks in getting women involved? And I know we talked about in the past some of the treatment that women have received, in there somewhere. But also now I see that you brought someone who's going to perhaps be a champion or at least speak up for those.
Well,
yeah, I'll give her a second.
I know she won't. Let me say something quickly. And, we've had some amazingly strong women involved in politics, from Miss Annie Holder, right down to Miss Edna Chisholm, to Miss Lucille Seymour, and to our own Barbara Conley here, who I have never met a harder working MP in my life. Barbara runs circles around all of us put together when it comes to working for her constituency. And she is an important, and I can only speak working with Barbara, she's an incredibly important part of our team. And it's unfortunate that the people that make it difficult for Barbara are those who consider themselves in the media and those who like to get behind, anonymous posts and just say random things that have absolutely no truth to them. But you know what? She's a woman. That's an easy person to pick on, and that just, I can't find another word but disgust. That just absolutely disgusts me.
So Vic and I actually had an offline conversation.
Hey,
following
we
that,
talking about
like-
our conversation.
Well, I have to let people know why I'm here because you and I actually speak outside of this. And so I'm glad to see a female face here because I'm Caymanian, but I'm Caymanian and I'm a woman. And I value being a woman more than being a Caymanian because I will say in both my career, in both the current living environment, it is still a man's world. And we like to think that we are in 2025 and we are progressive. And if I look at Cayman as an example, we don't represent a economy, or we don't represent an environment that is progressive for women. The fact that at a national level, maternity leave is less than what is some firms mandate privately, and that's been demanded because expats in their countries are used to longer maternity leave, and they've driven the maternity policies of those countries versus our national policy or national laws driving that. It is hard to be a woman, but it is hard to be a woman in this country. And I think if we're looking at it from a political scene, I think one of the things that will help in the future, and I think this election will be instrumental in showing that, is, I don't know if you guys remember, but at one point there was it might have been a TikTok video, it might have been something, but they were saying to ask your male partners or the males in your life, if a plane was crashing, do you think you could take over landing the plane? And the thought was that most of the responses were males were like, oh, sure, like if you gave me instructions, I could land it. And it's because men are ego driven. Well, it's believed that most men are ego driven, or they have this confidence where there's like, I don't know, but I might figure it out. Whereas as a woman, we want to know that we're going to be successful in something before we take it on. We want to have clear examples of, like you mentioned, you have a 1-year-old and 2-year-old. And so if you are looking for women in our age group to join the political scene, we are balancing families, we are balancing demanding careers. And what we want to see is an example of how somebody is doing that, doing it well, and also encompassing the values that we have, because the values that we have now are very different than the values of even our parents. So we care about work-life balance. We care about being able to see the first moments for our kids. We want to be caretakers, but we also want to be contributors to society.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that there are a lot of examples to bring that shared confidence. And so some of the things that you touched on, I think it was the first time that I've heard of it. And it's because I am busy doing all of those other things that I don't know, no fault of your own. But I think it's things like saying that you can be involved in a party and kind of see things in the background, almost be coached and mentored in the background and build that confidence that people probably don't have that awareness of and have
that's
that
our
understanding.
fault. That's the party's fault.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think if there's more awareness on things like that, if there is more, and there's another thing that I think is helpful is you spoke very highly of Barbara, and you spoke highly of her. And I think that is good, because sometimes as a woman, the way to survive is through your associated man privilege. So you have a man that is respected, and he stands up for you and forces other people to respect you, because we don't naturally get that.
Of Barbara.
But to the outside, or without you saying that, people don't know that. Like sometimes even in a relationship or a dynamic, some people are like, she wears the pants, like it's not him. But I think that's also helpful to know in a political party or the political scene, that it's like, if I'm gonna go and it's naturally going to be harder for me because I am a woman, that I understand that I have this support. And I think once you start to just shine the light and bring the awareness on those things, you will see women come up because we are natural problem solvers. We are natural fixers. We want to fix everything and we want it to be perfect. But I think it's also having the space to do that and the confidence. And I know I said a lot, and when I get on it, I just go.
But I want to
good.
segue off your point though, because the reason that I am here tonight and that I can proceed with, what I want for my future to, enact a better future for my kids is my husband, because he has been an amazing support system. And I find that there has been a very big shift in the gender roles between men and women and what is expected of men and women. My husband, this is going to go public, but he can cook better than I can this day and age.
Yeah.
But I'm the schedule. I have the plans. I know what my son needs to wear to school the next day. I know that he has a doctor's appointment 3 days, from Monday. It's very much very different. But if I did not have him to be there for my children, to make sure that they have one parent to make sure that they're put to bed at night, they know mommy loves them, but they also know that mommy is a very driven woman. So having that balance and having that shift, with my husband being so supportive has been one of the main reasons that I am here tonight. I mean, mind you, on my way here, he did call me and ask me where the medication was for our 2 sick kids because he had no clue, even though it was right in front of him in the fridge. But that's just the way it is. So
he just wanted that assurance from your voice.
I think that's great. And I think we also then need to figure out how do we make sure that a lot more women are able to operate in that environment, because we also operate in a society where a lot of women that are charged with all of those things are doing it as a single woman.
Absolutely.
Or doing it as a woman that was previously doing it with somebody and then they're now trying to figure it out on their own. And it's figuring out, are there things we can do as a country to support that family life, whether or not they have a partner? Because the reality is what the current dynamics are. That isn't the story
I know.
for most women.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we just on our meeting today's on a Monday, last week's meeting, one of the male candidates expressed some concerns as well because of plans they had with their kids and timing and everything else. But just quickly, I was at a conference held by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in the UK last year, and we had roundtable discussions on women in Parliament and why there aren't more women in Parliament. And one of the key issues raised was that, I guess it's across the world because we have the same issue here, is, why can't we keep on schedule? Why do we have to have Parliament until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning? Why can't we schedule Parliament dates so that we can plan around
That's
school?
not what
and
you guys
things like
do.
that? No. and it was surprisingly across the room, all of the males said, we want the same thing too. So, who is it? And that's one of the things that now that as a potential future leader, I am aware of that. I mean, I love schedules. I am ran by Outlook. If Outlook doesn't tell me to be somewhere, I won't be there. And it annoys me when things don't go on schedule. And like my father, my stomach runs on a schedule too. I have to eat at certain hours. But that is something that as a potential leader, I will be very much aware of. And that is setting a tentative schedule for Parliament dates so that people can plan their lives around it. And also to start on time and to finish on time. And if we go regular enough, we don't have to work until 10 o'clock every night to try and get everything done.
It may sound a bit trivial to some people, but it sets the tone, and it helps going forward.
Yeah. So, that's just one of the things, the awareness of that, just having that awareness that, hey, these are the things that can make life easier for everyone because we all want to be there. I told a story and it took me 2 years of telling this story about my son being shocked at the first birthday party that I was actually at after we lost the government and I was no longer a minister. But I teared up every time I tried to tell it for the first year. But that's a reality that men go through as well, but again, if I were the one at home with the child, it mightn't have been a birthday party. So we have to strike that balance, right?
I see we gave Ms. Barbara her flowers earlier. Definitely shout out to Ms. Barbara, currently representing Georgetown South. That's my constituency as well. You're family to Barbara.
Am I? I don't see any resemblance. Of course I am. That is my beloved Aunt Barbara. I never forget the night that she was actually voted in. I think I cried for maybe the 7th time in my entire life. And I was so proud. And I think actually the grocery store was when I decided that I wanted to be involved in politics. But I think watching her actually win that election was that kind of triggered it for me 100%. So yes, she is my auntie.
So being sort of convicted to move forward. What store were you in, by the way? What grocery store? Let me see.
What grocery store?
Yeah.
Oh no, I will leave that
You
alone.
gonna leave it
It
alone?
was Kurt's. It has to be. Never mind.
What are you looking forward to on the campaign? I mean, this is your first time doing it.
Well, I'm a people person. I love talking, even though I am losing my voice, so I apologize. And for the last maybe year, I've been helping out with Meals on Wheels as part of one of their volunteers, delivering to the Prospect and Spots area. And at that moment, I didn't realize how vast the levels of a $1 million house versus a shack next door that, you know, somebody is getting a meal delivered. That is their meal for the day. They have no interaction with other people. It just absolutely broke my heart. And a lot of these people are the elderly.
Yep.
I have a very, very soft spot for the elderly. Miss John Lee Clifford, the late John Lee Clifford, was my grandmother. She was one of the 24 people, or women, sorry, that signed the act to allow us to vote. So you should still go and register, guys. You got 2 more days. Well, yeah, 2 more days. And just watching these older people in their homes and not having that support that I feel is so, so needed. It's something that I look forward to getting out and meeting absolutely every single person and listening. I have my own pain points. Everybody in this at Cabana tonight has their own issues that they face daily. But I want to listen. Honest to God, that is my intention, is to listen and find out from whatever walk of life what your issue is and how I can realistically address it. Because I can come up here and promise the world, but I am going to make actual results happen on things that I can actually affect change with. And I can only do that with the team.
With the team, fair
Yes.
enough. I think Meals on Wheels is the first time I saw people living in homes here with no electricity and no running water.
heartbreaking.
That was it was an
Heartbreaking.
eye-opening experience for me. But now, all the best. I'm gonna
Thank
give you. I'm gonna come to Joy for final comments. But also, I want to ask you real quick: how can people get in touch with you?
I can be reached at 325-0013. You can also follow me at Crystal Gomez Wilson on Instagram. Bear with me with my Facebook page. I am making a more public one because as much as I adore my children, I don't want them publicized all over the place. I do have pictures up of them and I would love to share them, but there are some aspects of that I want to keep in check. So
even for your sanity on this ride, you
Absolutely.
you have to keep some
Absolutely.
things. Yeah, for sure. Mr. Hugh?
Yeah, thanks. 2 days left to go for those who haven't registered as yet, and hopefully this message will get out to them within the next few hours that they can get out there. But 2 days left to go. If you want to have a voice, now is the time to get registered. You can't do it next week. You can't do it next month. You can't do it the night before elections. Has to be done now. If you are interested in finding out more about us, it's theprogressives.ky. There you can also find contact information for our offices, etc. If there's someone that need help in registering to vote or any other questions they may have about it, please feel free to ring any one of us. And all of our social media pages are there. We're across a wide variety of social media platforms, so they're all accessible through the website. And so I'd encourage people, if you want to learn more, to go there and send your questions. There's a section there that you can send in comments or questions. We'd be happy to address those for you. But we're all here. This is it. We want you to get registered to vote, have an opportunity, at least the opportunity to have a say in your future, whether it's through the referendum or at the polls on election day. And just remember, after the election, and the dust is settled, if you're a young professional, like I see many in here, and you have a skill set that you think you can offer to the country, reach out to those who have been elected and put yourselves forward to assist.
Well said. I think what we'll do is once you guys do your launch and drop your manifesto, we try to have you guys back on in studio. You can share with us a little bit about your platform and what you guys are gonna be looking forward to in April 2025.
Excellent.
It's fair.
Be happy to.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Honestly, I love that this is the new normal. So, thumbs up.
Thank you very much, Crystal.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Awesome job.
I don't take my flowers really well, so thank you. I hope you feel better as well.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah. Let's get a break. Let's get Rashad, Keisha, where you are? Let's go.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
guys.
should actually just shout out that I think he's still here, but Honorable Kenneth Bryan is here as well. And this is a guy, if when we talk about let's get across the barriers and all that sort of stuff, this is a guy that if you say youth, he shows up.
Oh, 100%.
And
100%.
so I just want to recognize that he's here also.
That's a deputy premier, man. We're going to get him up maybe soon, yeah? Thank you. All right. Welcome back to the Link Up Podcast. Before we get out of here, final segment, final comments. We've been graced with the presence of the Deputy Premier.
Why you gotta say it like that, though?
That's what you are. I mean, a lot has changed since we had you on the last couple of pods, man. So
Yeah, I see that, man. I've been watching the podcast. It's getting quite, frequent and some good content. And, I see a lot of fresh blood coming into the political scene. I'm liking it. I'm liking it.
you liking it?
Yeah.
You see one of your constituents over here
Yeah, I
looking
see
a little.
Keish with her new hairstyle. I was like, hi, Keish, I see you. So,
Hello.
hi, Keish.
She says she's getting her money's worth on this first election. She looks different every time we see her, man. How have you been? I mean, you've been
Tired. I've been tired.
tired from
Enjoying it.
tired from what, man?
Man, this is
Wait a minute.
This is campaign season.
Everyone that's come up on this podcast has been tired today. What's up with everybody in January 2025?
Yeah, you gotta get through Christmas and then New Year's, and you see, like, a lot of people don't realize, like, for most people, holidays is like a time off.
Oh, fair.
Politically, holidays is like accounting season when all the accounts have to be done because you gotta be on the ground, you gotta be everywhere, you gotta be at every function. So even if you just want to chill, chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I know you just came from a function,
yes.
so when you leave here, you go to another function, probably.
I hope not.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to go watch the Lakers game, to be honest with you, because, the Lakers, the Fires in LA, they had 2 games postponed, and basketball is my venting space from all the chaos. So I'm looking forward to the game tonight.
OG Laker fan or
I'm a
just
OG.
okay?
Yeah.
Not
From
just
Kobe's. From
Okay,
Kobe days.
not just because LeBron is there.
No,
You're
no,
free.
no.
Okay.
I like LeBron. I gotta grow to love him, but I'm a Lakers fan.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned it's still kind of campaign season a little bit, or
Yeah, it's about to heat up too. But it's good. I like it because, you start to see so many people actually start talking and diving in, having more dialogue about the issues, refining the thought process, highlighting things that everybody is feeling. So it's good. This is healthy. This is democracy. I love it.
I saw one of the stats that came out the other day that said that they, I guess the most recent check at the time was about 500 new registered voters.
Yep.
I know that that's something that you've been quite passionate about.
Uh-huh.
One of the reasons you helped get behind the podcast and wanted to help push that message as well. How was that feeling for you to see that statistic go out like that?
I'm looking forward to be even more than that. I think what you have is particularly the last 7 days, the rate of registrations will increase heavily. Like you're probably going to get like 1,000 people between now and Wednesday, because naturally human beings like to procrastinate. Oh, I can do it. I still got 2 more days, 5 more days, but I'm expecting around 2,000 to 3,000 more registered voters.
For real?
Yeah, that's the atmosphere, that's the fever I'm feeling, and particularly with the potential of the referendum and these subjects that are possibly coming up. A lot of people have been talking about those particular topics that have garnered attention from different segments of society who want to have a say about those. So I think that is driving voters. Obviously, this last 4 years has been really interesting politically. So you have the extremes. I don't want to ever vote again. And then you have some people saying, I got to do something about it. So I think there's a lot more, I got to do something about it than I don't want to vote.
Okay.
What are some of the recurrent issues that you're hearing from your constituents? Like top 3.
Top 3: cost of living, homes for Caymanians, and jobs for young people. And that's my biggest concern. I'm so tired of seeing wonderful young Caymanians go away, study really hard, and come back home and can't get a job. I'm tired of it. I'm talking about within the civil service and within the private sector. And I think there needs to be some constitutional reforms to ensure that the political arm, which is the people's voice, have more say over hiring. Because this whole civil service dictating who gets hired, and then they don't hire Caymanians, and the civil service is the number one employer, I'm not down for that. It makes no sense to spend millions and millions of dollars on young Caymanians and they come home and they can't get a job. Like, that's probably the number one thing that needs to change. I know, like, cost of living is a very difficult thing to challenge because it has outside influences. But if you cannot protect your own people from having the ability to make a living, to survive, to eat, to put a roof over their head, then it's pointless. So, to be honest with you, that's my number one issue. Besides immigration is second. But giving people the opportunity. Sorry.
I don't want to step on what you said, but Nasia made a face when you
I
mentioned.
try to control my face up here. Am I not doing a good job?
I'll take it. What was you said? Did something he say struck a chord?
No, I mean, it's interesting about Caymanians coming back and finding a job. And I think a lot of times, I think there's so many other pieces of the puzzle, because I think it's like putting resources to work and actually work as in WORC, to actually look at when Caymanians are being listed as the Caymanians that they interviewed and they didn't get the job, being able to do the trend analysis to say, well, how many times was this Caymanian interviewed, but then actually making the phone calls and having an understanding of what happened. Because I think people understand the process. They know what they have to do, but they also understand the loopholes to get hired, who they want to hire.
Correct.
So I think it's one thing to, look at, okay, how can we get these employed? But I think looking at all of the other connected pieces and then figuring out where does there need to be additional resources to be able to really hold people accountable. And I think it's one thing to have government to have a say, but I think it's also looking at the process and figuring out where are the gaps, where are the loopholes, where is under-resourced. Like, because you have things in place where, like, if people had the resources to do their job, you would unearth a lot more issues. Because I know of Caymanians that, and I consider them to be very qualified, that they interview like 20 jobs in a year and then somehow they don't get the job. But it's then who's looking at that? Because then to get the work permit, they had to say that these Caymanians were interviewed and they considered them to not being qualified. Holding firms accountable to, that's cool that you have this work permit, but then what's your development plan for the Caymanian and what does that look like? And having those checkpoints where people actually fear that they will not get a work permit. And I don't think a lot of that happens in the volume that it needs to happen. So my face are my inside thoughts, and you don't need to bring them all out.
Yes. And you're not thinking of running, by the way, right?
Well, if I'm gonna give my honest answer, I enjoy problem solving. I enjoy the political atmosphere, but if I have to be likable to do that, I will never get the job, but I will get the job done. So when we can educate and sway voters to understand, like, I don't have to be likable, but you have to trust my skill set.
Yes.
And that I can bring that to the table and solve the problem. Then we have a different conversation, but I understand what the landscape is. And I think until you get to know me, I'm not that likable, and I'm okay with that.
Stop that. I asked because I think Lana got some flack the last time she came up here and the clip went viral. And she wanted to make it known that she's not running. Stop asking her, okay?
Oh.
So I just want to make sure you don't get that same type of attention, that's all.
I like the fact.
Oh, he really did bring the Conch Fritters live on here.
Yo, you better share with me. You didn't make me get my coffee.
Ladies, you already have yours? All right, pass that on to my
Thank
girl.
you.
There. You can have some as well, DB. Before we get out of here, shout out to Luigi, shout out to Cayman Cabana. I want to make a plug too for our merch. We have hoodies, we have t-shirts, and we have the cups. The cups are good. They're the double insulated cups. So we're not cheapening out right now. Comfort.
Thank you.
And the presentation is on fire. Sorry?
I can't eat those. I got some wahoo over there. Unfortunately, getting cold, but I gotta leave the space for my wahoo.
Leave the space for the wahoo.
If you all come down here, try out the Cayman style wahoo. Best in business.
Best in the business. before we get out of here, the pod, it's been a pleasure doing these 3 lives. We're tired. D-Bert is extremely tired. He doesn't want to see us anymore. Shout out to Vincent, Phil, the entire team behind the
Y'all can
scenes.
retire after April, man.
You told me you were tired when you sat down here.
No, but I've been doing
too.
it for four straight.
For 4 years?
Yeah. Like we've been at it. Like this season, this is your peak season. You can't get tired. Rupert, I'm sorry. I ain't giving you no slack. You gotta be at it. You got all the way to the 30th of April.
Okay.
Right? The people need you. This is important dialogue here. Like so many people are depending on this analysis that you all do. And you ask the right questions. You probe out the information that you need. And trust me, this right here is so much more valuable than half of the media in this country, because like you heard the Honorable Leader of Opposition talk about, the quality of media is so sad, because you ask the question, are you doing it just for clicks, or are you doing it for a society to have an analysis about a topic and come to logical conclusions? And sadly, that's not what news used to be. And I come from media. Like when we used to have principles of, like, God forbid you were caught, behaving a particular way in public, you would lose your job because it would offend the advertisers. Now, like if you're not doing something controversial, you won't get any advertising. It's like flipped its head, and I'm going, what are we teaching the next generation to, in respect to our analysis and information? But I guess it's left to us as parents to make sure our kids can analyze what is good and what is bad, because social media has just made it like everywhere, and there's so much information. You got to be able to be really good at filtering. So anyway, but it's important what you guys do. Don't ease up. I'm begging you, because what we need to end up with 19 members moving forward, and support teams for a government, because the government can't run by itself. And most people think it's only, 12 members of a government, but every government has support strong women like yourself to help government. So hopefully, this analysis here will help the people pick, a solid 19 people.
We might bring you back on during campaign season 1 and really grill you.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
We let you.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the debates, though. I must say. Ooh. I know you got to wrap up, but I'm like, me.
You want to argue?
Oh, I'm ready. I like the topic, so I'm ready. That's the part that
they're gonna ask you about the port, though. You ready?
Be ready to talk. Be ready to roll, bro. Any topic.
They're gonna ask you about the national lottery.
Yep, bring it on.
Okay. D-Bart wants us to do debates.
Just send me the topics. I'll be here.
D wants us to do debates, so we'll see. Any final comments from you on Nasir?
Yes. I think it's just to ask questions. I think there is a lot of information, and we tend just to absorb that information and accept it for what it is. But I think if you don't understand something, question it, and deepen your understanding on something. And I think it also helps you to network and figure out who knows things. But I think if we get into a process where we are questioning why things are the way they are, why things work the way they work, who's in charge of what, it starts to really, I think, open our understanding and then, enhance our decision making. So I would just say, if you're not a questioner, start doing that.
Yeah, agree.
Keisha?
I'm all good.
So your
vote. Man, Keisha, you gotta say something, man. I'm watching.
Your vote locked in. You good to go?
Well, to add to your point, I'd like to see Onasia in government. I think she has some really strong opinions and ideas that could really come across to, our age group and even the older generation as well, because you're very level-headed and you come at it from a logical perspective rather than emotional. So, yeah, I'd like to see you in the background.
Are you saying 2029 prep?
No, she already told us she's not running. But you just said that the government needs supportive people.
There's a lot of people who said they ain't running, and then 2029.
Yeah, hire her, right.
I'm down for hiring you. I already saw what I needed to see. You're strong. You ain't holding anything back. She's my kind of woman.
She has until March 3rd. She got a little time.
Or to
I work on plans, and so if that was going to be a plan, it would have been planned like 3 years ago.
Right?
Fair enough.
We just talked about this.
We did.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I gotta get out of here. I'm tired. I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna try to keep it going to April 30th. We'll see.
So when you running?
Right.
Ooh.
Ask him.
Did I do that?
Yeah.
Did I do that?
I fell off a little bit. I used to get that question a lot. I don't get it that much no more, so that means I fell off. That's a good thing.
That's good. That's so they won't see you coming, right?
That too, but also because I can do this kind of stuff.
All right, cool.
Yeah, this is my contribution.
All right, so 2029 then. All right.
Yeah, let's get out of here. You know what it is. Thank you to the beautiful scene behind us, the water, the ocean. Shout out to Rashad and those guys for having the vision to get us here with Cabana and Luigi. Thank you to the supporters, people who rock with us from day one, people who are new to us, people that stop me at the house parties and want to argue about politics. We take it all. We're going to get back in the studio, get back to some fun stuff. People say they want the old pod back. I'm going to try to bring that back a little bit within reason, of course. You know my spiel. You've been listening in the car, blah, 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 blah. We just thankful for the support. You've been listening to the Link Up podcast. Good night.